I've never done this in front of other people. Anyway, we're live now, so
Are we?
we are. Welcome to another episode of the Positively Insane Podcast. I'm Kevin Alexander Jones. I normally don't say Jones, but I got my brother Matt Jones with me, so I got to throw it on there.
Oh shit.
We will be your hosts and spirit guide for the next 15 minutes of your life.
Spirit guide.
Spirit guide. I say it every time. I don't know what it means.
I don't think I can guide a spirit guide.
It sounds good, but this motherfucker is he is my partner in crime, my creative wizard. We fucking get together and we come up with ideas. A lot of the ideas and projects that I've been talking about on Facebook and on the podcast have been things that him and I want to do or plan to do or are trying to accomplish. So I just figured have him on the show for anybody who's listening, the 4 or 5 of you guys that actually listen. And just talk about some of our fucking goals. Tell the audience a little bit about what excites you about what we're trying to accomplish, like for the next couple of years. You know, we're working on some writing projects, trying to build the whole Karma Soldiers empire. It's kind of
Well, honestly, I'm just hoping beyond hope that people enjoy what we're trying to build.
fuck yeah.
And
I think people will too. I mean, honestly, it's like we were talking earlier about me being lazy writing this shit because we've got these awesome fucking story ideas, and really it's just down to the point where I need to start writing them. I've been kind of lazy about it, but I think once we get them out there, people will enjoy reading them.
And I think the 4 or 5 of you that are listening right now would thoroughly enjoy reading our stories as well.
I think so too. I think the people who actually bother to listen to this, I don't know how many people do listen to it.
It's
but
like the same person over and over?
Well, I just assumed that, but you remember Aaron James from high school?
I do.
He fucking called me the other day. He's living out in New York. He called me the other day, and he told me that he listens. And I haven't talked to him on Facebook. I didn't even know he used Facebook.
I bet you that made you feel good.
Yeah, it felt badass. He said he listens, and he listens to them all. And so it's like, I know more people listen than I expected originally. But
well, strangely enough, I don't.
You should bust out a cigarette, bro. We should smoke a cigarette.
Oh, yes, we should. That does get the creative juices flowing.
It does. It does get the juices flowing. I feel like this is a little bit. This is a good episode. It's kind of funny because Matthew's never done a podcast.
It feels so weird.
He's like busting out his radio voice. I feel like.
Am I?
A little bit.
Oh shit!
But it works.
That's cool. I'm gonna listen to it. Like, why do I sound this way? I didn't know I had a radio voice.
A lot of people.
You do the same thing. Like commentary. You get your voice higher.
I do. I throw on my podcast voice, especially in the beginning. It's like I haven't quite gotten completely used to just having a conversation like the Joe Rogan. Like they don't even sound like they're doing a radio show. They just fucking do it.
Yeah, they're just talking. Well, I'm sure we'll get there at some point. But the first fucking time doing this, you're talking to a phone, but then you're also talking to the person next to you.
I know.
It's very strange.
It's weird. Normally I do this when I'm just walking around or I'm cleaning or I'm doing some, like, I'm eating, or not eating, but like cooking food. But
so it's just like,
yeah, I don't. Nobody's bitched at me, but people will get pissy if they listen to this shit with headphones and you're just chewing the whole time.
It's irritating as all hell. I'm like, why am I listening to this? I'll turn fucking some music on or something.
But yeah, like I don't really talk a whole lot about our book ideas and story ideas and shit like that, but we've got I feel like we can kind of give some details without really, because this is not really, but basically we've created like a fucking universe. We can kind of talk about that. Oh shit,
you want to talk about the universe?
Yeah, we created a universe, and we don't really have to give like story spoilers, but
it's like, just think about it this way. It's like you got the Game of Thrones universe. You've got the Lord of the Rings universe, the Harry Potter universe.
Yep.
And then when you think about our universe, it's like they all are basically one world.
Yeah.
And we've literally created a multiverse of multiple worlds with multiple characters.
Yep.
And each character is going to have their own book, but it's going to tie into the entire, like, every single character that we write about have their own single book.
Well, not every character.
Well, not every character.
Yeah, but like groups of characters.
Everything ties together. So eventually, once we get enough written, people will be able to see the formation of our universe.
Yeah, it's going to be, for fantasy readers, if you've read any Terry Brooks, he's got like a whole. It's not a universe. It's just a world. People call it the Terry Brooks universe, but it's really just the world that everything over a period of a couple thousand years happened in this one world. Well, where we each one of our books or stories is kind of like you were saying, it's a world in this overall universe. So it's like uh,
everything we write is tied into our entire universe.
Yeah, there will be connections and ties to every story, whether it's they could be 5,000 years apart and on different worlds or in different galaxies even, but it's all within the same universe.
Yeah,
and there are connections.
So in about 5 years from now, when you pick up one of our books and you thoroughly enjoy it, which I hope
you fucking will, you're gonna thoroughly enjoy it.
Yep. And then you pick up another one because you like the first one, but it's completely different. It's not like the sequel to that first one, but it's a completely different story.
But there are series also that take place.
Yes.
There will be like a 6-book series that takes place focusing on that story, but it's still within the same universe. And and some of those characters may or may not tie in with other series of stories.
So when you read two completely separate storylines, I hope that you'll be able to open up your mind to try and find connections.
Yeah.
Because when you're reading each different story of our what do you want to call it?
We'll just call it
of our universe.
Yeah.
Because when you read each story, and you read enough of our stories, you'll be able to yourself form the universe that we have created.
Yeah.
Which it's gonna be so much fun.
And there's we've got ideas we've got science fiction ideas, we've got fantasy ideas,
we got realism ideas,
we got realistic shit. We're not going to do a whole shitload, but we're probably going to maybe dabble a little bit in some romance, sci-fi, fantasy type shit.
It's going to be more difficult, but
yeah,
I think the further along we get in our writing careers, hopefully we'll be able to pull that one off.
And we've got characters that are based in real life, that we tell real life parts, like real life shit about them, but then we also continue their story in a fictional basis, and it's like we're literally trying to transport our readers from reality into fiction, and sometimes back again depending on the story. But it's like we want to what we're trying to accomplish is take people through multiple galaxies, planets, dimensions and I want to take our readers through the fabric of reality and time. And this whole, it's like this. It sounds super complicated and over dramatic and shit, but it's basically going to end up being
It's
going to be our life. It's going to become our life's work. Really.
Yeah, it is complicated talking about it, because we've got it formed in our minds, and each book is just a tiny part of our universe.
Yeah.
And if we don't explain each fucking book that we're planning on writing, then the readers are just going to get confused, or the listeners, I suppose, right now, just going to get confused what they were talking about. But I kind of want to talk about that one story about the creation of an entire different world, or the de-evolution to evolution.
That one that you came up with?
Yeah.
All right. Are we giving details, or what are we doing?
Well, we
kind of basically.
We haven't really fleshed that one out, so we can maybe kind of flesh it out a bit.
Basically, explain. I'm just keeping track of the time here. We might have to start another. Yeah, we've got about 5.5 minutes, and we'll start a secondary piece.
Oh shit!
But just kind of explain your idea of what you wanted to accomplish. The guy who basically fucking.
So I was watching some Marvel movies. I don't know if anybody's gonna think I'm a geek or whatever for that one.
Everyone watches the Marvel movies.
Yeah. Well, I was watching some superhero movies, and then I started thinking about a villain. But then I started thinking about a villain without any heroes whatsoever. So the villain comes along and he basically destroys everything that exists.
As far as humanity and civilization
goes. All of humanity and civilization, right? And I'm thinking that'd probably be the first half of book one, or maybe an entire book all by itself.
That could be a whole book, yeah.
And And then we get to see it see the Earth like a million years in the future, where there is zero evidence that humanity existed, zero whatsoever. And we get to see how some of the animals and other organisms evolved within this million year period.
Yeah.
And see how the world is forming. See if there's any more life forms that evolved from what they used to be. Like right now.
Yeah, we'll have to go more than a million years. Probably a couple billion.
Couple billion.
But yeah, we're basically this dude like. There's one book that's all by itself. There's basically this dude who decides to destroy humanity, and we tell about basically the destruction of humanity on planet Earth. Pretty much, it could be any planet, but we're going with planet Earth for the time being. And like you said, there's no heroes. This dude is like, humans are destroying this shit. We're not trying to go super Ferngully or Avatar on this. We're not trying to like save the planet. This dude is just an asshole that wanted to fucking kill humanity for whatever reason.
Yeah, he didn't want to destroy the planet. He wanted to destroy humanity because we are basically the bacteria of this planet. We're eating it alive.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
so this dude, he fucking kills off humanity, and this is really just the birth of what the planet becomes in a few billion years. Once the rest of the species have evolved to the point where they're, as intelligent as you, like they evolve to their own versions of humans, but they're no longer humans. And I think we kind of dabble a little bit. We're not going to explain how it happens or why, but I think we kind of dabble a little bit of introducing magic to this world too in the future.
Yeah. Maybe a different form of magic, not the type of magic you see in Harry Potter, but a different form of magic that we are currently creating.
And so
that we aren't going to explain to you guys at all.
It's kind of a huge spoiler. But some of these creatures, like, just as an example, we really haven't fleshed out the characters or the creatures or the species or anything. But just for an example,
well, we did talk a little bit about the whales.
Yeah, I was going to mention that.
Okay.
How whales, they kind of evolve, and we don't really know how their brains work. They got massive. I mean, you think about the brain of a blue whale; it's fucking massive.
When I think of a whale, I think of something gentle and
super wise and intelligent.
Yeah, wise and kind of like a dragon in the Asian culture. Where they like to make dragons out to be, omnipresent almost like gods.
Yeah, omniscient. Yeah. So like these whales, we kind of feel like, well, the whales that they'll maybe develop like telekinetic powers or psychic powers. Yeah, maybe some of the other species will develop their own.
If there was a movie and a whale was talking, it'd be that old wise voice. You'd feel comforted by, or guided by almost.
And once we decide how we want to introduce our version of magic or how that works, basically this is probably going to turn into like the first book is just the dude who destroyed humanity. That just tells a pretty interesting story. It's basically going to be like the prequel of this series. We're probably going to turn this into a series. I'd say at the minimum a trilogy.
Yep, I was thinking trilogy too. A lot of our stories are going to have trilogies.
Yeah, I feel like that the whole there's a whole philosophy between like the concept of three.
Yeah.
It just feels like it has a greater impact when a trilogy is done properly, because you have that beginning, the middle, and the end without dragging it out and kind of fucking spoiling the story.
And we're not mushing it so tightly because we want to be able to explain a lot of the beautifulness that we imagine. And in one book, it's very difficult to have a reader be able to basically get sucked into our world that we created.
And when you go through all the effort of creating a world, it kind of just feels like a waste to just write one book in that world.
That's true.
But
once we create a world, it's not like we're gonna destroy it.
Well, yeah, but it's just once it's created, you kind of want to like, okay, what else happens now? But
that's a good point.
I'm gonna cut this short here and just start out another episode. We've got 20 seconds left.
Oh snap! We're throwing it into two, guys.
I gotta throw
Tune in the next time.
I gotta throw out the shout outs like normal. Hit me up on Facebook, Jasmine the Destroyer, YouTube, Positively Insane Podcast. I'm on Tumblr, Positively Insane Podcast. You can hit me up on Gmail, Possibly Insane Podcast, gmail.com. Fucking, you guys know the deal. Fucking follow me.
I didn't know any